Stop. Put down the tweezers. That single gray hair you just found isn't an enemy to be destroyed. It is a desperate message from your body asking for help. Most people see a gray strand and immediately think their youth is over, or they rush to cover it up with chemicals. But that is a mistake. That hair is a biological check engine light flashing on your dashboard. It is signaling a specific breakdown in your internal systems, from your thyroid function to your nutrient absorption. And if you ignore it or simply yank it out, you are missing one of the most critical health warnings your body will ever send you. You might be standing there leaning over the bathroom sink, looking at that silver wire in the mirror and feeling a heavy sinking sensation in your gut. It's not just vanity, it's a confrontation with mortality. You wonder if this is the beginning of the end for your vitality. But what if I told you that the graying process isn't always a one-way street? What if I told you that by decoding what that specific hair is trying to tell you, you could not only slow down the graying process, but actually revitalize your energy levels, your metabolism, and your mental clarity? We are going to walk through the exact protocol you need to follow the moment you see that first change in pigment. This isn't about beauty tips or buying expensive dyes. This is about deep systemic biology. We are going to explore the 6 critical steps you must take to address the root causes of graying causes that are often reversible if caught early. By the end of this conversation, you won't just know how to handle your hair, you will have a blueprint for reclaiming your cellular health. Before we dive into the science of your follicles, if you are someone who believes in treating the cause rather than just masking the symptom, consider subscribing to our channel. We are building a community here dedicated to the kind of longevity science that helps you age on your own terms. And I have to ask, where are you watching from today? And be honest, did you panic when you saw that first gray hair? Let me know in the comments. We're all in this together. The very first thing you must do, and this is non-negotiable, is to resist the immediate visceral urge to pull that hair out. I know it is tempting. It's staring at you, ruining the uniformity of your hair, and your instinct is to eliminate it. But biologically, plucking is one of the worst things you can do to a compromised follicle. When you yank a hair out by the root, you are not solving the problem. You are creating a trauma event in the scalp. Each hair follicle is a tiny, complex organ. When you forcibly remove the hair, you rupture the connection between the hair shaft and the blood supply, creating inflammation. A significant study published in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology highlighted the dangers of this repetitive trauma. They found that repeated plucking can lead to a condition called traction alopecia, where the follicle eventually gives up and stops producing hair altogether. But more importantly for you, the inflammation caused by plucking can damage the melanocytes, the delicate pigment producing cells in the surrounding area. Think of your scalp like a delicate garden bed. If you see a leaf turning brown and you violently rip the plant out of the soil, you disturb the root systems of everything around it. You aren't just losing that one hair, you are signaling to the surrounding follicles that this is a hostile environment. Often, the hair that grows back after plucking is coarser, wiry, and even more devoid of pigment because the scar tissue interferes with the delicate transfer of melanin. So, rule number 1, leave the evidence. It is your data point. Use it to monitor your progress. Don't destroy it. Once you have made the decision to leave the hair alone, you need to look inward, specifically at your fuel gauge. The second thing you must do is schedule a specific blood panel to check for nutrient deficiencies with a laser focus on vitamin B12, iron, and copper. We often assume that in a modern world, we are overfed and couldn't possibly be malnourished. But as we age, our ability to absorb nutrients from our food drops precipitously. You can be eating the perfect diet and still be starving your hair follicles. This is particularly true for vitamin B12. This vitamin is the powerhouse behind DNA production and the formation of red blood cells. Your hair cells are some of the fastest dividing cells in your body. They require a massive amount of energy and oxygen. If you are low in B12, your body creates larger, inefficient red blood cells that can't deliver oxygen effectively to the tiny capillaries in your scalp. When the follicle is starved of oxygen, it enters survival mode. The first thing it shuts down is the luxury function of producing color. The science on this is incredibly robust. A study published in the International Journal of Trichology examined a group of young adults experiencing premature graying. The results were startling. A significant portion of them had marked deficiencies in vitamin B12 alongside low levels of ferritin stored and in calcium. The researchers concluded that in many of these cases, the graying was reversible with proper supplementation. Imagine your body's a construction site. If the trucks stop bringing bricks, nutrients, the builders, your cells, stop building the house. They just stand there. That is what is happening to your hair pigment. So don't guess. Go to your doctor and ask for a B12 and ferritin test. If your levels are even on the low end of the normal range, you need to take action. This might mean introducing a high quality methylated B complex supplement or increasing your intake of liver, shellfish, or eggs. You are not just trying to color your hair, you are trying to oxygenate your entire system. Now that we are looking at blood work, we have to talk about the master control of your metabolism. The third critical step is to undergo a comprehensive thyroid audit. Your thyroid gland, that butterfly shaped organ in your neck, is the conductor of your body's orchestra. It sets the tempo for everything from how fast your heart beats to how quickly your hair grows and pigments. As we get older, particularly for women, but also for men, the thyroid can start to slow down a condition known as subclinical hypothyroidism. It's not enough to land you in a hospital, but it's enough to wreck your hair. When thyroid hormones T3 and T4 are low, your body slows down its metabolic processes to conserve energy. Producing melanin, the pigment that gives your hair its color, is an energy expensive process. If your thyroid signals that energy is low, your body prioritizes keeping your heart beating and your lungs breathing over, keeping your hair brown. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism has established a direct link between thyroid dysfunction and hair abnormalities, noting that both hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism can alter the hair cycle and pigmentation. The gray hair you are seeing might be the very first symptom of a thyroid that is struggling to keep up. It is the canary in the coal mine. If you have been feeling a little more tired than usual, maybe gaining a few pounds that you can't explain, or feeling cold when others are warm, and then you see the gray hair, that is a huge red flag. You need to ask your doctor for a full thyroid panel, not just the TSH test. You need to see free T3, free T4, and thyroid antibodies. If there is an imbalance, correcting it with medication or lifestyle changes can halt the graying process in its tracks. It's about restoring the energy your body needs to afford the luxury of color. Let's move from the physical to the psychological, because this connection is stronger than most people realize. The fourth thing you must do is conduct an honest stress audit of your last 3 to 6 months. We have all heard the old folklore that fear can turn your hair white overnight, or that presidents go gray faster than anyone else. For a long time, scientists rolled their eyes at this. But recently, we discovered that the folklore was right. The connection lies in your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. When you are under chronic stress, whether it's financial worry, caregiving for a parent, or job insecurity, your body floods with a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine. This chemical is great for running away from a bear, but it is disastrous for your hair stem cells. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Nature by researchers at Harvard University mapped this mechanism out with terrifying precision. They found that norepinephrine drives the melanocyte stem cells, the baby cells that eventually become pigment producers, into a state of frenzy. The stress chemical causes these stem cells to differentiate and migrate away from the follicle prematurely. Essentially, stress causes you to spend your pigment savings all at once. Once those stem cells are depleted, they are gone forever. The follicle has no way to replenish the pigment, and the hair grows out white. This is a permanent depletion caused by a temporary state of mind. So when you see that gray hair, you have to treat it as a sign that your nervous system is redlining. You cannot separate your mental state from your physical appearance. Your actionable takeaway here is to aggressively integrate cortisol lowering practices. I'm not talking about relaxing when you have time. I'm talking about scheduling it like a prescription. Breath work, meditation, or simply walking in nature lowers that norepinephrine output. You are literally saving your stem cells from being burned up by stress. If you don't manage your mind, you cannot manage your hair. If you're finding this connection between your biology and your hair eye-opening, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps us spread the science-backed message to other seniors who are looking for real answers. Now, we need to get into the chemistry of the follicle itself. The fifth step is to address the internal bleaching effect by boosting your antioxidant intake. This is one of the most fascinating aspects of graying. Did you know that your hair follicles naturally produce hydrogen peroxide? Yes, the same stuff you buy in a brown bottle to bleach stains or disinfect cuts. It is a natural byproduct of your metabolic processes. In a youthful body, you produce an enzyme called catalase. Catalase is the cleanup crew. It breaks down that hydrogen peroxide into harmless water and oxygen before it can do any damage. But as we age, our production of catalase drops. At the same time, our production of hydrogen peroxide often increases due to stress and poor diet. The result? You literally bleach your hair from the inside out. The hydrogen peroxide builds up in the follicle, blocking the synthesis of melanin. A landmark study published in the FACEP Journal, Federation of American Societies for Experimental Biology, detailed this mechanism, describing it as massive epidermal oxidative stress. The researchers found that this accumulation of hydrogen peroxide is a primary driver of vitiligo and gray hair. So the gray hair you see is essentially a chemical reaction gone wrong. To fight this, you need to reinforce your body's antioxidant defenses. You cannot easily supplement with catalase directly because digestion breaks it down, but you can eat foods that support your body's production of it and other protective enzymes like glutathione. You need to look for foods rich in copper, zinc, and selenium. Think of your body like a house that is slowly accumulating dust. That's the hydrogen peroxide. Antioxidants are the vacuum cleaners. If you don't have enough vacuum cleaners, the dust takes over. Your actionable step is to add a gray defense component to your daily diet. This means dark leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, which contain sulforaphane to boost liver detox, and berries rich in vitamin C. You are trying to neutralize the bleach before it strips your color. Finally, we have to look at the environment you are putting your head into. The sixth thing you must do is evaluate your exposure to toxins, specifically cigarette smoke and pollution. If you smoke, or if you live in a house with a smoker, you are fast tracking the aging of your hair by decades. Smoking causes intense vasoconstriction. It shrinks the tiny blood vessels that feed your scalp. Remember, the hair follicle is the furthest point from your heart. It is already hard to get blood up there against gravity. If you clamp down on those blood vessels with nicotine, you are starving the root. But beyond the blood flow, the smoke itself is a pro-oxidant bomb. A comprehensive observational study published in the Indian Dermatology Online Journal analyzed smokers versus non-smokers and found a staggering correlation. Smokers were 2.5 times more prone to premature graying than non-smokers. The toxins in the smoke create free radicals that damage the DNA of the hair follicle. It creates the exact oxidative stress we just talked about, but at a volume that your body cannot possibly manage. It's like trying to put out a forest fire with a water pistol. Even if you don't smoke, living in a highly polluted city can have a similar, albeit slower, effect. The particles in the air settle on the scalp and create inflammation. The actionable advice here is stark. If you smoke, this gray hair is your sign to quit. It is visible proof that your cells are suffocating. If you don't smoke but live in a city, consider washing your hair more frequently to remove particulate matter and ensure your diet is rich in vitamin C to help combat the systemic oxidative stress caused by pollutants. So let's take a breath and look at the big picture here. We aren't just talking about a gray hair anymore, are we? We are talking about a dashboard that is lighting up. We've learned that you must stop plucking to save the physical structure of the follicle. We've learned you need to check your blood for B12 and ferritin to ensure you have the raw materials for life. We've learned you must audit your thyroid to ensure your metabolic engine is running. We've learned you must control your stress to stop norepinephrine from depleting your stem cells. We've learned you need to eat antioxidants to stop your body from bleaching itself. And we've learned you need to clear the air around you to let your scalp breathe. It is a lot to take in, I know, but I want you to feel empowered, not overwhelmed. The arrival of that first gray hair is not a tombstone, it is a turning point. It is an invitation to treat your body with more care, to listen to its quiet signals, and to provide it with the support it needs to navigate the years ahead with grace and strength. You have the control to influence how you age. You can choose to view this as a decline, or you can view it as the moment you decided to get serious about your systemic health. Your independence, your vitality, and your confidence are worth fighting for. That single silver strand is just a reminder that you are still here. You are still evolving, and you still have time to make changes that matter. I want to hear from you one last time. Which of these 6 steps surprised you the most? Was it the idea that you are bleaching yourself from the inside, or the connection to the thyroid? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found value in this deep dive, please subscribe and like the video, because your health is the most valuable asset you own, and it is worth fighting for. Until next time, listen to your body and take care of yourself.